Just that. Hello, everyone. We are finally back from the Planet of the Apes. Dylan McCandless, Super DM64, joining me, Bill Worster, a.k.a. Zazubaar.
Hello, everybody. We are indeed back from the Planet of the Apes, which sounds like it should be the title of a Planet of the Apes movie.
It is the title of a Planet of the Apes movie. That's like the last compilation movie of the TV episodes.
Really? Back from the Planet of the Apes?
Oh, no, maybe that was the first one. Maybe that was Back to the Planet of the Apes.
Aha.
So it's we're both sort of wrong. it's in an interesting way. We were both off by one letter. So one word, not letter. Anyway, so we're back from that, and War for the Planet of the Apes came out. Just quick, like one sentence thoughts on that. Did you like it?
It's fucking great. Everybody go watch it. I'm sure we'll properly review it at some point, but this is not that day. And of course, whenever it comes out, we'll have to do the addendum to the series. Also, very soon in the near future, we're going to have to record an addendum to our Week of Kong. So, lots of.
We'll do that next week or something, because that's that came out on Blu-ray like 2 days ago. So, we definitely should do that. But I liked War for the Planet of the Apes a lot as well. Probably my favorite movie of the year so far. So, good shit.
Yes.
Now,
and we're just saying a lot because this is the year that Logan came out.
Yeah, I liked, but I had other stuff that I think I liked maybe more than Logan. But that's not the point. I think that movie totally hit the mark on a level that I really just wished it would, and maybe didn't think it would. I don't know. It just totally impressed me in every single way. So, anyway. This is finally not a Planet of the Apes review or podcast in any way. We're finally talking about something else. And I'm really glad that it's this thing, because this will definitely bring some long overdue variety. Dylan, what are we talking about tonight?
We will be returning to our series of looks into the arcs of Dragon Ball Super, the continuation of our favorite anime franchise. Now, you may be saying to yourself, but you guys review the arcs, and the arc isn't over yet. True, but it's a long-ass arc.
Yeah,
so
this is proven one of the longer ones.
We're going to do like half of it, basically. We're going to be talking about the episodes from whenever the fuck it started up until like 95. So basically just the build up to the arc. We'll talk about the Zen exhibition match and then all the stuff of Goku going around putting together the Universe 7 team, especially some very interesting things that happened towards the end of that revolving who the 10th member of that team is. But we'll be talking about all that today.
Exactly, because the recruiting of the teams turned out to be a saga unto itself. Because we got reintroduced to characters we haven't seen in a while. We got upgraded versions of characters who haven't been useful in a while. So it's it took a while. It took us a while to get there, and then of course you have the Zen exhibition match, which is its own thing. So Dragon Ball Super. We're only realistically talking about like maybe 10 or 15 episodes. No, less than that, I think. But a lot happened. And I think that, just to kind of go into overview, and I feel like we say this maybe every time, but I think that this arc in particular has proven to maybe be the best example of it. There's always something cool happening in the show. And maybe it's not always cool, but it's always something that makes you go, "Excuse me, Mr. Toriyama?"
Yeah.
Like that's what Dragon Ball has always been good at, and Super is, it does that so well that, recapturing that feeling I had when I was a kid of feeling that every time I watch Dragon Ball, it just always makes me fucking go, oh, thank God Dragon Ball's still around. Thank God this is still a thing. What a time to be alive. So, Dylan, any general overview stuff you want to say before we get into the details?
Yeah, I mean, no arc is perfect, obviously. Even the last arc.
No, definitely not.
Even the Future Trunks show, which I thought was really good, had a lot of problems, and so far this is proven to be no exception. However, talk about stakes and just like interesting. directions for the characters.
There's
to go
stuff
in,
going on, ain't there?
Particularly Goku, who so far this arc has just been doing a phenomenal job of proving Zamasu right.
Of just being a total fuck up in the best way possible. It's great.
Although they did kind of ride around it in a way.
Yes, they did. They did. Ugh.
Where it actually wound up being a good thing what he did.
I don't like that at all. I guess we'll get into more of it later, but I feel like Toriyama. I'm glad you brought that up now. Because I feel like I didn't emphasize that at all in what I said in my little overview bit. But Toriyama really has fallen into some of his old, maybe not traps because it's not bad. It's just typical of him. It's exactly the same as it always is, and that is a rather disappointing element of this arc because of how great the stakes are at the beginning, how different things are, how far-reaching we're going. Every universe is involved, like all these gods of destructions and Supreme Kais and angels, whatever the hell the Whis' kind are called. It's incredible. The scope of the thing outside of the stakes is incredible and incredibly exciting. And I think that when they kick the new intro into gear, we should talk about the new intro. Obviously, that goes along with this arc. I love it to death. I like it better than the old one. I know you don't, but it's just incredibly energetic and exciting, and it gets you pumped for this new adventure that we're going on. And things just feel fresh to me, and I think the intro is a big part of why, or at least part of why I felt that way initially. How do you feel about the intro, though, just to get that out of the way? The new one, I'm talking about.
I like it a lot. From an animation standpoint, it's fucking beautiful.
Yes, I think is the thing that elevates it so much for me over the last one, although the song as well.
Yeah, I just at first wasn't sure if I liked the song as much as I liked the first one, but it's grown on me. I like them both fairly equally now.
So to get back to the characters and the story and the narrative, all that good stuff. So where it all kind of starts, I cannot remember where exactly we left off with the filler, but where it all kind of kicks off is Goku is sort of getting complacent in his day-to-day life of being a radish farmer, and at one point he's robbed by some random terrorists in the desert, and he kind of fucks around with them. Then he doesn't, interestingly. There's a really cool bit where Goku is like, initially he's kind of acting like his usual dumb self, but then there's just a moment where he's like, alright, I'm not having this today, and he just kicks their asses. But at one point he's, when Dragon Ball Z characters dodge or deflect bullets with their bodies, they have to do this really fast speed thing to catch up to speed with the bullets in order to do it. Otherwise, they're not bulletproof usually. Goku fucks up, gets nicked by a bullet, and in that moment, he's like, "Oh shit, I'm kind of rusty, and that's no good. Like, I got nicked by these dumbasses. Like, what the hell? What kind of fighting shape am I in? I'm too soft from not fighting any strong guys for too long." How long would you say has it been since the stuff with Black? At least 9 months, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not really sure. And as per usual, when we do these reviews, I watch the show regularly as it comes out, and Bill just kind of binges them right before we do the videos on them. So he's seen all this shit a lot more recently than I have.
Well, not the stuff we're talking about right now. I was keeping current with it, actually.
Okay.
I'm a little fuzzy at this point.
I'm a little fuzzy on the details, and I don't remember if they stated a particular amount of time. But it's got to be at least, like, approaching 9 months, because, Bullet gets born.
Although that is magically induced by Whis, so...
It is magically induced, but the whole reason Vegeta wasn't sure if he was going to come to be in the tournament at first was because she could, like, go at any second. Seemed to be the idea.
Right, he's like, now that I have a newborn child, I can leave.
The reason I brought that up is because Goku's saying he hasn't fought any strong guys, and I'm like, Goku Black was pretty strong, buddy. So, if you haven't fought anybody strong in a while, it must have been maybe a year since then, which is totally feasible. How long would you say it's been since Super started? How much time has passed? 2 or 3 years?
I would imagine something to that extent, yeah.
That's crazy to me. It doesn't feel that way. It feels like it's been like 2 months.
Actually, I don't know because Pan is still a baby.
That's true. You know what? I didn't think about that. She doesn't seem to be aging, or at least not at the normal rate. Although we know that some Saiyan children, they're dwarves for like their entire lives, and then at like 15 they just hit this insane growth spurt.
But then again, she wasn't born at the beginning of Super, so that was...
That's true. Yeah, she was born... Yeah, but Videl was pregnant, so for like 2 months or whatever. So we know that the stuff after must take place like a year or so later, at least.
Had she been born yet by the time?
Yeah, remember Piccolo's babysitting her at the beginning of the Frieza stuff, both in the movie and in the anime.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Let's stop talking about older stuff, though. We have so much to cover with the new shit. So, point is, Goku's not happy with his lot in life. So he decides to go back to Whis and continue his training. When he gets back up there, though, I don't remember the particulars of why exactly this comes about, but he decides to use the button that Zeno gave him to just immediately appear before him. So that way he can ask him to start the tournament between all of the different universes, so Goku has a bunch of new strong guys to fight. Beerus is fucking livid because, he doesn't want that. Beerus likes a nice, easy life. He doesn't want the entire universe to be threatened by the wrath of Zeno. So when Goku...
Well, and Goku doesn't really understand the gravity of what he's playing around with.
He doesn't. He doesn't know Zeno like they do, even though he's pals with him. At least, on the surface.
Even after seeing the destruction of Future Trunks' entire timeline, which should have, clued him in on how dangerous it is playing with this fire, he still doesn't quite understand the gravity of the situation, I guess.
So he goes to Zeno, and there are two of them now, obviously, because of the one that comes from Trunks' timeline. So they both are incredibly bored. They're playing... that is such a great scene when Goku, Beerus... Because Beerus and Whis go with him, no, they don't. He's by himself. When Goku...
Yeah, the button only transports Goku.
So maybe this happens later than when Beerus is with him, but I remember a bit where the two Zenos are playing, like, chess with actual planets, and every time
I don't think Beerus was around for that. I'm pretty sure that is when Goku goes to remind him of the tournament.
That actually works better then, because the whole idea of that scene is brilliant. Goku is literally seeing a visual representation of why he shouldn't be acting like this with these two, because of the power that he's dealing with. And he doesn't give a shit and just greedily asks Zeno to start the tournament.
After the events of the Universe 6 arc, Beerus doesn't interact with Zeno again until the Zen exhibition match, I don't think. That's the next time that he actually sees them. He encounters the Grand Priest when the Grand Priest comes to Supreme Kai's planet to announce the time of the tournament. But Zeno himself, Beerus doesn't actually see until the exhibition match.
I see, okay. So, point being, Goku fucks up, or at least it seems that way at first. We'll talk about it later. And it's incredibly... It was just thrilling at the time. Because Dragon Ball isn't always like that. So often it's villain of the week, fucking problem of the week, filler of the week, whatever. We finally just had this, like episode upon episode stretch of just Goku and all the other characters reacting to each other doing stuff, and problems and dealing with them, and again, the stakes that you mentioned earlier are so high now that every second is, determining whether or not the universe is going to be erased. So, my point is simply that things are just as good as they've ever been with the characters and the actual conflict. And they stay that way for quite some time. After that is when things start to get really interesting, though, because then he goes back to Beerus. I don't remember if it's before or after when Beerus threatens to destroy Goku. I think that's before. That was another really great scene where Beerus is like, you're starting to become more trouble than you're worth, going off and getting our universe involved in cataclysmic martial arts tournaments. I really should just wipe you out now so you're not a threat anymore. That's an incredibly effective scene.
That's right before Goku goes and talks to Zeno.
Yeah, we're talking about this shit out of order, fucking. But that's such a great scene, though, no?
Yeah, Goku distracts him and then pushes the button.
There's this idea that Toriyama had all the way back during Battle of Gods, the movie, of having Goku do something that makes all the Z fighters turn against him. I think this was his attempt to bring that into Super. I'm really disappointed with where it's gone. Because initially, it's brilliant. Because you have this tournament now. Goku makes Zeno very excited about it. It's a thing. Like you said, the Great Priest appears to Beerus and Supreme Kai and goes, "This is happening. Thanks, Goku. You're a fucking G. Get your 10 warriors together. It's happening."
Which, by the way, this gets a little bit into shit that is past what we're talking about, but there's something shady about the Grand Priest.
I didn't get that sense at all. That's interesting. What makes you say that?
You didn't get that sense from the way he was behaving at the end of episode 98?
When Universe 9 gets erased?
Yeah, it doesn't just seem like a matter of business in that instant. He seems pretty fucking jazzed about an entire universe worth of people being...
Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. I didn't get that sense at the time, only because...
There have been theories ever since he was introduced as a character that the Daishinkan was going to turn out to be evil. And
interesting.
Even kind of get a little bit of a creepy vibe from Mojito, the angel from Universe 9, right after his universe gets erased. This is beyond...
Well, he says he expects it. That's right. I forgot about that, too. He's like, I figured that was going to happen.
Also, all the gods and angels being
that
named
could
after.
be, though, because Universe 9 was the lowest level. Was the lowest level in the universe.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I also love the naming convention that all the gods of destruction and angels are named after alcoholic beverages. It's great.
Oh, I didn't notice that, but yeah, you're right. I forgot that was a thing. I forgot most of their names. Anyway, so that's all stuff that we will have yet to analyze, of course. So who knows how that's all going to play out. However, what I like more is when Goku gets back to Earth and he's like, "Hey, Gohan, guess what? This cool thing's happening. We're going to fight all these strong guys from another universe." "Holy shit, Dad, that's wild. Why is that a thing?" And he's like, "Well, because Zeno's going to erase all the universes and he wants to figure out which one's the best one. That'll be the only one left." And Gohan's like, "Oh, Dad." He tells Gohan everything, like that it was his idea and and he did it against Beerus' wishes, the whole deal. In his usual Goku, everything will be fine way, but still. And Gohan is scarily real with him, and he's like, "Dad, you fucked up. I will forgive you because you are my dad. I don't know about everybody else, so let's not tell them. Let's lie and say that this is going to be like the Universe 6 tournament, and we'll try and get everybody to help us out, because this is a fucking problem now that we're going to have to solve." But Gohan being Gohan, it very quickly, to him, becomes more like, well, now I'm sharing the burden of the world with my father, and that's kind of great. And that shows you that he's just as sick as Goku was, ultimately.
Unfortunately, that kind of contradicts what happened a little bit earlier in the arc, because the first time Goku in this arc realizes that he fucked up is right after he has gone and talked to Zeno. He gets back to Beerus' world, and then the Daishinkan shows up to announce when the tournament's going to be. And in that moment, when I remember Goku getting this look on his face like, I might have just fucked up here. Especially when the stakes are made, apparent to him.
Because he also doesn't really believe that that's what Zeno's going to do at first, you know? Like it's not...
Yeah.
He doesn't
he
think
goes
that he doesn't think that he's capable of it. He doesn't understand that Zeno doesn't look at it the same way he does.
The important thing to remember is that when he goes and talks to Zeno, he's playing with fire because Zeno's kind of unpredictable. He doesn't realize that Zeno has apparently, and I have a feeling that this is due to influence of the Daishinkan, been talking about destroying universes already. Like nothing that Zeno had said to him before that gave him any indication that that was going to be the stakes of this tournament. All that he knew about it was that after the Universe 6 tournament, he was like, hey, this was fun. I think I'll do one between all the universes. That's literally all he knows.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. You've definitely convinced me of this theory, because the thing I was going to say anyway is that Daishinkan, the Grand Priest, whatever you want to call him, Whis' dad, he seems to be almost playing, Zeno is essentially our god here. He seems to be playing that role in the authoritative executionary sense more than Zeno, because Zeno is, their children. And that's sort of the charming idea, is that the whims of a child decide the universe's fate,
I think he, in a way started out doing, what Whis and all of his brothers and sisters have been doing for the Gods of Destruction.
They all play that role, though. Like, that was the big reveal when Whis said, oh, I'm stronger than Beerus, and I train him. That was the idea of that reveal. And it's scary that seems to go all the way up the ladder, definitely to more of an extent when you get all the way up. And if you are right, which I think you definitely are now that you're describing it like this, and Daishinkan is a true bad guy, what if all of the angels are aware of this? They probably are. And they're probably all in it together. They're probably going to try and take over all of creation. I imagine this is a big ploy on Daishinkan's part for them to not be servants. And I imagine Whis will be the only one not about it. Whis and Vados probably.
Probably. I wonder if he even knows. Like, I would be able to buy
He probably does. I think that he's absolutely... I think that's why he acts the way he does. I think it's only over the course of the tournament that he'll even change his mind and be like, maybe I shouldn't go along with this.
It is possible that all the angels are involved, especially given, like I was saying, Mojito is one creepy motherfucker. But
they're all the ones who aren't Vados and Whis creep me the fuck out. Maybe it's just because I'm used to them.
Even Vados is like way more a dick to Champa than Whis is to Beerus. Whis and Beerus strike me as the only god-angel combo that have like a genuine friendship going on.
Yes, which is interesting. I wonder why that is, Although Vados does seem to at least kind of care about Champa, I guess. She's looking out for his health and shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But there's also that moment.
They're tough nuts to crack.
But there's also that moment and again, I'm going ahead of what we're supposed to be reviewing here, but there's also that moment in episode 99 where she starts fake crying, and she's like, bye, Champa.
That's right. Yeah, but Whis has that little laugh of his whenever they talk about the fact that he's going to survive if the universe gets a rift. Ha 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 ha! Do the summer. Like that little self-effacing laugh.
Yeah.
So
it always strikes me as super cheeky when anybody in an anime does that, but actually it's just like Japanese culture that they don't believe in showing their teeth when they laugh, so they all cover their mouths whenever they laugh. Right.
Whereas Americans were like, ha! That's exactly how we laugh. That's exactly how I laugh, certainly. So, the lying then. For several episodes, Goku and Gohan lied to everybody, including Vegeta and Krillin and Bulma, that the tournament is not for the sake of the universe's survival. It's for money, or just for a good time, Goku does a very bad job of lying about this, but nobody really suspects anything until he starts recruiting people with actual common sense, like Android 17. Although 18... No, that's not fair, because 18 knows, she just doesn't care, because he says he's also going to pay her. She pegs that he's lying early on.
Right.
So, All right, let's talk about that then. So we got the setup down. That was all great. All of the setup is really good. Can we agree on that?
Yes. Well, we should probably start getting into the Zen exhibition match because that comes fairly early on during all of this.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that they didn't recruit the 10 warriors before that. All right, so let's talk about the Zen exhibition match then.
Yeah, the only ones that they had to recruit for the Zen exhibition match.
Gohan and Boo, yeah.
Gohan and Boo.
Right. And Mr. Satan technically comes as a pair with Boo. So, all right, let's talk about the Zen exhibition match then. I really liked that initially as an excuse to make the arc longer, because Toriyama always has to come up with some bizarre reason. And it's been a problem in Super because initially the stories didn't require that at all. You know, your Frieza stuff and your initial Beerus stuff. When you get into Universe 6 and Goku Black, it's not a problem anymore, really, except for some of the time. But in this saga, the Zen exhibition match and all of the cosmic setup and all of the back and forth between Goku and the other characters about what happened, you know, definitely fills out the time well. In the exhibition match, like, you know, being like, oh, you know, Zeno wants to see this thing, what it's going to look like before we actually do it. So that way, you know, when we actually get to the tournament, we know what we're doing. So I really like the idea of that.
The idea seems to be that the Zen exhibition match doesn't really have rules, and it's a way for them to decide what the rules of the big tournament will be.
Right, that's right. Well, initially the rules are Goku's basic outline for a martial arts tournament.
Right.
And then they changed it at the end because they want to see the fight keep going.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think the decision to make the actual tournament a battle royale was a result of the sort of just childish, like, nah, I don't want to wait. I want to see it all happen at once.
Right.
We're talking about essentially babies who run the entire universe.
So, Universe 7, Goku, Gohan, Boo, you know, Beerus and Whis and Mr. Satan are all along for the ride, of course, go up against Universe 9, which is run by an asshole Supreme Kai and an incredibly level-headed God of Destruction.
Yeah. I liked from the very start of things that they, you know, established these characters as kind of polar opposites.
Well, it's interesting, because later on, when we get that God of Destruction, he's level-headed, but he's still very ruthless. Yet that Supreme Kai is very cowardly and doesn't really, like, he's all talk and no action. And that's
right.
that makes a lot of sense given what a Supreme Kai does and given his characterization. I agree with you. It's perfect. I love that they get so much focus, you know, early on in the exhibition match and then early on in the actual proper tournament.
Road definitely is the anti, you know, Shin, the Supreme Kai that we're used to. And then Sidra, like you said, he's a lot more level-headed and kind of... He's not a better person, obviously. Like you said, he's still like a ruthless dick, but he's much more, I guess, calculating than Beerus is, who just sort of flies by the seat of his pants.
Well, because Beerus seems to have a better sense of what the job is, which is, I shouldn't be doing this, but I probably have to in order for the universe to keep spinning. Right?
I disagree. Both Beerus and Shin are fucking terrible at their jobs. That's why Universe 7 has one of the lowest ranking universe and has to be in this fucking tournament to begin with. Really,
yeah, but I think the whole point of this fucking tournament is at the end, everybody's going to be like, oh, we should probably be more like Universe 7, because that's always how these fucking things go.
Because the idea seems to be that well, you look at the way Universe 7 has been run. Beerus sleeps all the time.
I agree with you, but I don't think the show does. Or at least I don't think they're going to play it that way.
Well, they already have, is the thing. The entire...
That's how all the dickhead fucking Gods of Destructions feel about it. The lowest mortal rate, yeah, that makes sense though, because they're making them the underdogs like they always have to make our characters. But the idea of that is that there are more exceptional fighters in Universe 7. Like, you have your standouts like your Gokus and your Vegetas and your Friezas. And that's the idea. That's why
But on average,
it's super low, right? But when you go to all the other universes, everybody's like super powerful, but they're all stuck at those levels. There's no range.
Well, also it seems to be also partly about like civilizations. You go to the other universes, and you have like these big sprawling city-sized planets. Like in Universe 11, we see
Yeah.
the top and all them in. Love those characters, by the way. Universe 11 has been one of the most interesting additions. Shit like that. The point is, the idea seems to be that the gods of destruction and the supreme kais of the universes, they're supposed to like, cooperate and try to develop their universes to be like better. But in Universe 7, the situation has deteriorated due to having a super lazy god of destruction who just sleeps for decades at a time. And a Supreme Kai who didn't really get proper training because the rest of his race were wiped out by Boo, and so doesn't really know what the fuck he's doing half the time.
That's a good point. I always forget that Supreme Kai's kind was wiped out by Boo, so there was nobody really to train him.
Well, I mean, you rewatch the Boo saga, which I haven't done recently.
We were planning on doing that soon. We'll probably have to put that more down the line, because I'll probably have to rewatch some of it. But anyway, you were going to say?
He's super shitty at his job. Like, that's almost kind of the point of even introducing the Elder Kai. He comes out of the sword and he's like, what the fuck have you been doing?
Right.
Like, this is not how you run a universe.
Well, again, it's like the idea of Universe 7 is like, oh, let life prevail overall. Let them make their own way. And the question of this whole arc seems to be like, is that enough? Is that... Or do you have to really do it like all the other universes where they're all like, this is the way things are going to be? There's the mechanized universe where everybody is mechanized. So, and I think that part of this is laziness on Toriyama's part, to be honest. But the other universes are... by and large, pretty uniform in their aesthetic. Like, some of them are all green,
What I like about the mechanized universe, the one that God of Destruction in Moscow is over, is that it kind of reminds me of the, whatever they were called from the beginning of GT. That fucking planet of... like, you look at all the character designs from that universe, they all feel like the fucking, whatever they were called, General Rildo and all of them. They all feel like that.
It's been so long since I've forced myself to watch that crap.
There's all kinds of like slight nods in this show to like the parts of GT that people like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then all the shitty parts of GT that nobody liked, we just pretend that.
I'm hoping to see the Tuffles in some form at some point, like as bad guys.
Yeah, it's true. They do exist in the mainline continuity of the show.
So, we were at the Zen exhibition match, so I think we should talk about the fighters of Universe 9, the Trios de Dangers. I mean, they bring up how tacky all the names are, but they're super tacky. Like, they're dumb names.
Yeah.
Their actual names are fine. Basil, Lavender, and Bergamo. They're all great. I love them. And the reason why is because I think they're one of the better examples of, alright, this is a different universe. Let's try to not make them look like exactly Dragon Ball Z characters, Let's try to bring some variety. I think that's been kind of hit or miss. Mostly hit. Because in Universe 6...
From what we've seen, Universe 9 seems to just be like a fucking furry's wet dream. Like, they're all like anthropomorphic animals.
That's right.
Except for Sidra, who's a dwarf. So, who knows?
He could be like a sea cucumber.
Maybe. Something like that. Because even when we get on later on at the tournament, it's like the other members of their team. It's like a rabbit, like... But then there are also others that don't really follow that theme, like the big ice guy, so maybe not. But it seems like a large portion of their populations are animal-based. There's the chick with the cat claws.
She was really cool. I loved that big slash. But the fight between each of the Trios de Dangers and our Universe 7 fighters are all really solid. I think the standout, though, is the Boo fight. The one between Goku and Bergamo and Lavender and Gohan, fine, quality stuff. The one with Gohan is better than the one with Goku because of... but the one with Goku is good, though, too, because of the whole power scaling thing. But the standout thing with the Boo fight is just that we get to see Boo fight, Like, it's a rare treat, and we get to see Boo get mad, which is always a delight. So, it was one of my favorite moments from the early part of this arc, and one of the things that made me get really excited about coming back and keeping current, which is not something that I keep constant with. So...
Well,
Anyway.
yeah, I think the Boo fight, like you're saying, definitely the standout. Well, the fight with Bergamo, in a way, kind of wound up being a sort of a misnomer. They kind of peddled it as this big moment to get you excited so that they could pull like a bait and switch. Like he beats Bergamo in one episode, but then it winds up being the setup for that awesome fight between him and Topo.
Right, which is definitely better. But the cool thing about the Bergamo fight is that we get to see Goku really playing around with somebody and really like he being kind of a dick with his techniques. Like they really did a good job of trying to make Goku look really bad in front of all the other universes because of how he was acting. Because we know that he's not doing that to be a dick. He's doing it because it's part of the game. Yeah. But that looks like all the other prim and proper gods of destructions and Supreme Kais and your Zeno-samas and not Zeno doesn't care, but your Grand Priests and whatever. Like it looks like total, arrogant dickhead behavior. So, and that's how they all think of him anyway, because they all think that this tournament was his idea. Although I think that that's put to rest at the end of the exhibition match, right? Like that's when they're like, "Oh, we were going to delete them all anyway."
Yeah, but the other universes still seem to resent Goku, regardless of that revelation. Especially the ones from Universe 11, who are the standouts so far, the ones that we're all waiting to see Goku and the gang go up against. The members of Universe 11, who belong to the Pride Troopers, the sort of vaguely Sentai-ish superhero team, their entire universe seems to be predicated on this idea of like justice in like a very cartoony, like comic booky way.
Yeah, well, they're very Sentai.
Yeah.
Well, they're sort of Sentai, sort of Ultraman, I guess. They're the martial arts thing and the fact that they don't wear masks obviously screws with the Sentai thing. Not the martial arts, the masks.
Yeah. So that's what they're all about, and so they view Goku as like this kind of villain. And the other universes seem to tend to agree. But
well, Toppo seems to see something in Goku he doesn't exactly vocalize. Some kind of like terrible thing, some kind of terrible character element that will just get them all just killed. I wonder if part of it.
I think it's his ignorance.
Yeah.
That, he ran off to Zeno. It's not malevolence, but it is incredibly dangerous having someone this stupid have that much power.
I suppose that's it. Does he ever say that, or I'm pretty sure there was like this moment towards the end of the fight where he just kind of, because his whole deal is I get a sense if somebody's evil if I fight them. And he doesn't get it like the traditional way. He says, I didn't, but I still think you are evil.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I really liked all that. But we were talking about something else, though, when we started getting into all that.
Speaking of the trio of dangers, what I like about them...
Okay, so let's go back to them. Their terrible name and everything.
They take me back a bit to the Ginyu Saga because they all have really interesting and personalized powers. So they kind of remind me of the Ginyu Force for that reason. Basil the Kicker, called so because all of his attacks are kick-based. Also, he shoots energy blasts out of his feet, which sounds stupid, but it's incredibly badass.
Helpful when you're a big-footed dog.
Indeed. Then you have Lavender, the creepy asshole of the group who uses poison and seems to be just raring to kill any and everybody at any given time. And then you have Bergamo, who has this ability that he strangely doesn't use later on, where he can steal his enemy's energy, essentially, through the fight, and then use it against them. All incredibly useful powers, all things that give the Z fighters issues in the exhibition match. And as a result, all three of those fights are incredibly interesting, because every time you watch one of them, you're thinking, well, what's this guy's deal going to be? The fuck's he going to pull out of his ass, Can he change bodies? Is it gonna be? Are we doing that again?
No, we did that so bad in this series. Let's not do that again.
Never again.
I was gonna say something. Oh, Goku going all the way up to his maximum in order to beat Bergamo is awesome. Like, that was an incredibly satisfying way to end that, you know? Because if he had just beat him up, it would have been like, well, great, we knew that was going to happen. But because it was done that way, and because Goku got brought to his maximum, he got what he wanted, and we got to see where he's at now. Which is nice when he's about to go into a tournament like this. We know he's not going to be like, I'm pulling out this secret thing. Because he does that every fucking tournament, and I'm getting sick of it. I'm happy we're into this one now, and it's like, we know where Goku's at. We know where he's stuck at. It's just going to be a matter of what he can pull out of his ass in the here and now, you know? And I think that that's cool.
Yeah, although rumors have it he might be getting a new transformation by the end of things, but...
Does he need another one? Super Saiyan Blue really should be it, in my opinion.
But it's Dragon Ball. They got to introduce new transformations.
Yeah, but this is Super. That's not really the thing anymore. Like, Frieza got his Super Saiyan. That was nice. After that, I think we should stop.
But we've already gone beyond that. And Goku Black had Rose.
That made sense, though, because he was using Goku's body, so it made sense that he should be able to access some form of Super Saiyan.
And Trunks unlocked that new transformation. It's not quite blue, but heading that direction, I think.
I think I more mean, like, Goku, specifically, should not get any new transformations.
But they got to make the toys in the video games.
I guess. I mean, I'm not saying that, like, if they do, I'll stop watching. I'm saying that I think Super Saiyan Blue is enough. Anyway. So,
I don't want them to use that as a way of winning the tournament either, just because...
Yeah, like, it's so easy. And we've done it a million times.
It's just the fucking trope again, you know.
And Super has mostly been good about subverting our expectations from that. This arc, better than most. But the trap that he fell into that we mentioned earlier, that we find out about in this part, is that Zeno was going to erase some of the universes anyway, based on how low their level was. I just realized that my microphone is not plugged in. Fixed it. And the reason why that's disappointing is because it immediately sucks the drama of Goku fucking up out of it. Because now he didn't fuck up, he did a good thing. And Toriyama, if he really wants Dragon Ball to grow and survive and keep people engaged, needs to stop putting a fucking writing safety net under every action Goku takes. Because the idea of him making this very selfish mistake was very interesting early on. And now, all we're kind of left with is the stakes. So thank God those are so good, right?
Yeah.
I really think that was, without a doubt, the biggest misstep of this whole season, was to introduce that idea. I know that later on, now that you've convinced me, they inevitably reveal that the Grand Priest is evil. Obviously, that'll kind of be necessary.
However, I'm not even 100% convinced of that, but somehow by simply laying out the facts, I've convinced you of it. That's interesting.
I don't see how else they're going to do it. And it makes perfect sense with what we've seen so far. So they have to have a bad guy at the end of this. And one of the other universes is not enough. Although we already have Frieza and Chill. Frost.
Yeah.
Chill's Frieza's ancestor. Frost teaming up, so I guess we've got them, but they're not going to be enough either. You just get Goku and fucking Jiren together, and they're not going to do very well. So, why don't we talk about some of the other gods of destructions and Supreme Kais? Which one is your favorite of all the different universes?
First of all, it's finally nice to see what the God of Destruction from Universe 10 looks like. Fucking big pink elephant. want to know where the fuck he was during all that Goku Black shit. But
That
anyway.
Supreme Kai is my favorite alternate Supreme Kai, the one from Universe 10, Gowasu.
You think that's just because we're aware of him? You know, we've spent time with him in the past, so you're a little bit more connected to him than you are the others. I got to tell you, I'm kind of interested in the one from the Mecha universe because of how like fucking he's got so much personality about him, you know, and he's got this shtick, and he's a bad guy. I like a bad Supreme Kai since we've already got a good one for our main universe, you know. I always loved that idea.
What's his deal again? I can't remember him exactly. What does he look like?
He's the one with the glasses. He's the one that like.
Oh, the intellect. Is he the intellectual one?
Yeah, the one who like has all these mechanical warriors working for him, and he's like strategizing in the tournament and shit.
I forgot that they were in the same world, but that makes sense. I liked him a lot as well because he was like this snooty dickhead, and he kind of like always pushing his fucking glasses up and shit. He kind of reminded me of like fucking young Gohan, you know, like before he got cool.
Let's see. Favorite new God of Destruction though.
The clown one's pretty cool.
We
know nothing about him.
Well, based on his character bio released from Toei, he's pretty in keeping with the rest of his universe. He's super into justice, and he's a big fan of the Pride Troopers because they essentially he's a fanboy of their superhero exploits, which is kind of interesting.
That is interesting, given that he's like, I'm going to blow that up.
And it's probably why he's allowed them to... It seems like at least Toppo and probably Jiren have done some training with the gods the same way that Vegeta and Goku have.
Yeah, I would have to say so.
But who else? From what we've seen briefly of him fighting, I love the Fox one. I don't know his name.
I like the weird lizard guy, the weird gecko lizard guy.
Yeah, he's cool.
Well, I don't want to name them all because we don't have time for that. But
no, I was trying to remember one in particular.
Oh, okay.
I can't think. Shit.
I don't like the little mouse. I really don't. He's really annoying.
You're not supposed to? He's a dick?
I don't want him to be in my life. I don't need that. I have other concerns. I don't need to have that shoved in my face every 2 seconds.
I like the idea behind his character though. He's like the most sort of villainous we've ever seen a God of Destruction be so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like spying on the other universes and trying to eliminate Frieza and Goku before they can even make it to the tournament. Like,
oh god, when Frieza calls up Universe 9 and is like, "Hey, do you guys want me to work for you?" Oh, that was such a fucking great scene.
It was a great scene. Also, he has a terrible taste in universes to work for.
I mean, he didn't know. To be fair, he didn't know what he was mistakenly trying to get himself into. So before we get... Well,
can you imagine if that had happened, though? The rest of them would have been eliminated immediately. And
he would have been like, fuck.
And then there Frieza is.
I messed up. That would have been funny, because he would have been like, well, this is what I get, I guess. Would he have gone back to the Earth Hell?
That's a good question. Because the whole reason he was in Earth Hell is because that's where he was killed. Although he might go back there automatically anyway, since he's got the halo over his head. He's not really...
according to Goku, he's going to resurrect him at the end of this, which I don't believe at all.
Right. I think Frieza's going to fuck up during the tournament and probably get his ass erased.
That's possible. Do you think that bringing him back this time maybe is the ultimate, like, we can never redeem him and make him a good guy, but we can make him a regular character? Maybe that's the idea, because it's like, are we really going to kill him again? Like, I know erasure is a little deeper, but
it's a little more permanent. Although I'm pretty convinced that this arc is probably going to end with either Zeno deciding to reverse all the universes that he erased during the tournament, or Goku using the Super Dragon Balls to bring them all back.
I imagine Zeno is going to realize that the Grand Priest was manipulating him, if that is the case. So, even if you wanted to, I don't know if it's in Zeno's power to
bring back a universe once it's already
The
been
Super
erased.
Dragon Balls can do it. They have the Super Dragon Balls.
Right, that's what I was about to say. It's probably going to be down to using the Super Dragon for that. Because his power, at least from what we've been told, is limitless.
Right. That's the whole deal, is that it's the only reason to gather planet-sized balls, is to get a limitless wish. Which, ladies, remember that.
Which is, why back in Dragon Ball... back in Dragon Ball we thought that was Shinron's deal, but then every fucking time they would ask for, like, a certain wish, he'd be like, I cannot do that. And he'd be like,
It's like,
what?
I can't get a Big Mac? No, which could only be a Whopper. I don't fucking want a Whopper.
I can bring Frieza back from the dead, but he'll still be chopped up into little pieces. What's the point of that?
That was weird. I still can't believe that was a thing. It's like, Shinron, I've literally seen you bring Krillin back to life with a hole. Like, why did Krillin not have the hole anymore? Like, if you can fix the hole, why couldn't you put Frieza back together?
Didn't Purunga bring him back, though?
That's true. Alright, I just remembered what the deal was with that bit with Frieza, though. So the problem with that was that they had... that Frieza was not dead when he got chopped up into pieces. He was merely chopped up into pieces. He didn't die until Trunks blasted him. So Shenron's whole point was, I can restore him to the point he was before he was blasted. I can't also put him back together in the same wish. You would have to wish for that separately, which they can't, because... they could have, though, at the time. They didn't know they were going to lose the other wish.
Why they didn't just do that was kind of dumb,
Yeah.
They were like, we'll use our cloning machine.
We'll use our thing that'll take hours.
They probably didn't even know whether or not it would work. He's just like, yeah, that might work.
Also, it could have brought him back weaker, you should have used the magical dragon. Alright, so let's get back to the things at hand then. So do you want to get into the recruiting? Or is there anything else you wanted to say about something that happens before that? Because there's a lot there, so I feel we should start to cover that.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much talked about all there is to talk about with the Zen exhibition match. It was nice to finally see Majin Buu get some action, considering what happened to him in Universe 6 and what happens to him here.
Yo.
But,
it's not as bad here. I guess it's kind of worse. We'll talk about it. So Goku is tasked with assembling the team for Universe 7, the 10 warriors for the Tournament of Power. And he decides, as usual, to go, well, let me just get all my friends.
Yeah.
And he goes first and makes sure that he can get Vegeta on their side. So as we said earlier, rushes the birth of Bulla, so that way Vegeta will be freed up for the tournament. Which is cool. I guess. I guess that's healthy for the baby. Oh, one thing you're probably happy about, practically zero Pilaf, Shu, and Mai this season.
Yeah, they were starting to get very overused. They're around.
They were huge in the last arc, so it's nice that we have a little break, because I don't mind them that much.
Whenever we go around to Bulma's house, of course, they're there in the background. She's pregnant and whatnot, and they're talking about the baby or whatever. But they're not in every fucking episode.
They're not integral to the plot,
like they have been in the past.
Right. So, Krillin and 18 are up after Vegeta, and what I like is that Vegeta is so reluctant about it. I like that all those bits were prior where Goku keeps going to him like, hey Vegeta, we need you for this tournament. And he's like, I can't, Kakarot, I have to wait for my child to be born. And then Goku will fly off like, oh damn. And then you just get those little moments of Vegeta being by himself, and he's going to be like, I'm going to have a daughter. Isn't that cool? It's so charming. Didn't you like that? Those Vegeta happy to be a parent? Oh.
Why did Vegeta in that impression you did of him sound like Scotty from Star Trek? I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. Yeah, but that was cool. It's nice to see Vegeta, giving a shit about the birth of one of his children.
Well, he gives a shit. He gives a shit about everything these days. He is a put together, responsible parent.
Yeah, we didn't get that with Trunks, obviously, and so very good continuity.
I think he also feels guilty about that, and that's part of it. Although probably. I think most of it is he knows that Bulma will kill him if he's not there this time.
I mean, it took him knocking Trunks out and then blowing himself up to finally become a good parent to Trunks. So
well, it took that for him to become a decent human.
He probably realizes that he should start off on a better foot.
So, Dylan, there's a lot in the recruitment. Obviously, it's 10 warriors. I feel like we should just kind of break it up by the little mini stories that happen in each. So, Krillin in 18. Vegeta doesn't really get one. Vegeta is interestingly absent a lot up until the tournament starts.
I think that's very purposeful. You don't really need it for Vegeta. He's been a constant presence since he fucking showed up back in Z.
We know he's on board and that he's a team player now. So it's not really like, oh God, what's Vegeta doing?
Right. You only needed these little mini story arcs to kind of catch up with characters that we hadn't seen in a while, or in the case of Krillin, justify their being in the tournament. Because I know when the team members were announced from Toei, there were a lot of people going like, what the fuck are Krillin and Master Roshi doing there? Like,
Master Roshi, I understood. I was more like Tien.
No, because Tien, you always get the sense that he's kept training. So even when he's off screen, it's like that Tien, he's still training, he's getting stronger. He's not gonna ever catch up to the Saiyans, but he's a good guy to have on your team. I mean, he was kicking serious ass during Resurrection F.
I agree. That's true. I think Resurrection F was like his quote unquote audition for this.
And he managed to hold his own, pretty fairly, despite being outmatched both by Cell and Boo in their respective arcs. So he's always been a character.
He's always kept himself around. That's true.
He tends to show up conveniently when
they need somebody to give it their all for like 5 minutes and then kill, and then not kill, and then just like pass out. That's what Tien's good for. He hasn't done that yet in this arc, but we'll see how it goes. So what did you think of Krillin's little justification 2 or 3 parter? I loved it. I think that was one of the better of the little arcs they did for the recruitment, because the next one should have been a lot better than it was. But I was really satisfied with the whole Krillin and 18 proving that Krillin's trained a lot since what's been going on in Super. Plus, together, they're kind of unbreakable, although we see that they're kind of breakable later. So there's the fight between Gohan and Krillin is really good, because we also get to see, again, everybody has flaws in this arc, and that's nice. We get to see that Gohan is a bad tournament fighter. Which makes sense, because he's not used to it. He's used to being threatened. He's used to his life being in danger for these kinds of situations. He's not used to throwing all of his power into something because that's what the job is, or that's what the game is, Yeah,
well, he's never been, or he's been in tournaments. He's never really completed a tournament.
He's never completed it, yeah. Well, the Cell Games is different. The Cell Games is closer to this, though, than the Budokai tournament that he was involved in.
Cell Games wasn't really a proper tournament, so I don't count it. And then, the Budokai that he was in,
he never even got into the ring. Except with Kibito.
It's true. I forgot about that. Videl, who was still practically a new character at that point, the paint was still drying on her character model. She gets more to do in that tournament than he did.
Yes, well, she got her ass kicked, but yeah.
She was a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Anyway, so I really liked Krillin going up against Super Saiyan Blue Goku.
Yeah.
That was pretty dope. My favorite moment was definitely when he had the Destructo Disc go under Goku and he didn't realize it, and then the floor came out from under him. Because that's when you realize, like, oh, that only works because in this tournament there's no flying. Great, that's awesome stuff. Although I don't know if that particular trick would work given what we learned about the tournament arena. It's like, oh, it's made out of like an indestructible material, even though every time somebody fucking hits something in the tournament, it fucking breaks.
Well, the last indestructible material we saw got fucking shredded by the Z-Sword. Or no, it destroyed the Z-Sword. I got that backwards. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Well, it was fine when the Gods of Destructions tested out the arena and that happened, because you're like, oh, okay, well, because the Great Priest is like, oh, I really underestimated the power here. But then when they start the tournament, it's the same shit. It's just chaos and destruction. Anyway, so
well, we skipped the stuff before this, before Krillin and 18 fighting with Goku and Gohan. The training that Goku and Krillin does, it's like super reminiscent of what we saw back in Dragon Ball.
That was the last arc. We've reviewed that already.
We did?
Yeah, that was all filler stuff. That was before the Universe Survivor arc started.
Shit, you're right. Okay, yes.
That was literally Goku going, because that was part of his whole, like, I need to train because I'm getting soft. And he was like, Krillin, train with me. Because Vegeta wasn't into training at that point because Bulma was pregnant.
That's right. Okay. See, I just lumped that in with all of this.
I mean, I think that's the stuff that was right before this that I couldn't remember earlier. I'm pretty sure it was that stuff. Or no, I think that was before the Gohan bit with the dude trying to fuck his wife.
Right. Well, the reason all of that was good to have is that it would have been, super simple to do what they essentially had to do with 17, which was just have it be revealed that, oh, he's way stronger than he used to be,
Yeah.
Which was fine. I mean, they had to write it that way because we haven't fucking seen him since he helped form the spirit bomb that took down Boo.
Right, which I like that was referenced. So 17. Great introduction. I like what he's doing. But man, his little thing that he got to do with Goku was fucking lame.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Neither was the one where the episode where Goku recruited Tien. That was
also fucking lame. Not as lame, interestingly, though, because there was that nice bit going on in the background where Roshi was overcoming his, like, lust for women, which is fucking great. And I think he actually did it. We'll see, though. We're going to find out next episode. Yeah. He's going to start fighting some chicks.
Right. But seeing him back is great. I love having 17 back. His character interactions with 18 have been interesting so far, and can't wait to see more of that. We got some background on him, what he's been doing. He's got a family that we never get to see, which is weird because he showed Goku a picture of it, and you would expect them to like cut down and show us the picture that Goku's looking at, but they don't.
Maybe they're all horribly malformed.
We have no idea what they look like.
They were all in some like terrible fire. Oh, we know that some of them are adopted, though. He says that.
Okay.
He's very snooty. That's the thing that... I like him, but he's definitely like... He's the same character, for sure.
Yeah. I like his 2 episodes better than the one for Tien, just because I think the first one is pretty solid, where it's just him and
I like the first episode with 17 better than the 2 episodes with Tien. But I think, like, here's what's going on to give us something to do while we recruit these guys is better in the Tien episode.
Yeah.
Because at least that was, like, connected to everything in the past, and, again, you had the stuff going on with Roshi. I liked all that better. But the initial introduction... Because What made the introduction between Goku and 17 really great was that 17 was built to kill Goku and never got to meet him properly. Until this. So that's really good stuff. And there was definitely an awkwardness there that was appreciated, especially since 17 is like, you're only recruiting me because you're desperate. And Goku's like, I would recruit you even if we weren't. And he's like, yeah, okay.
I like that he immediately saw through Goku's bullshit.
Yes.
That was great.
I like that the androids were the first two. That makes sense.
Yeah. That was great. Like the fight between the two of them, it makes sense that 17 was able to get so much stronger over the period of time. It only feels weird because we haven't seen him during the intervening years. But I mean, when you think about what the androids are, they have unlimited energy, and it's never been really stated that they can't train and become stronger. 18 certainly seems to have become stronger over the years. So it makes perfect sense. All of that's fine. Seeing him go toe-to-toe so easily with Super Saiyan Blue is a bit surprising. Like, I was expecting him to, like, be fighting Goku in, like regular Super Saiyan maybe, and just, like, kicking his ass, and then Goku whips out Blue, and then we find out that... But no, he seems to be pretty comfortable fighting with Goku even at that level, so he's way stronger than even I would have guessed.
Yeah, but they're both still holding back still. At that point. So it's crazy. They've definitely got way stronger. He's clearly stronger than 18 is by quite a long shot. Then, although we don't know. We don't know.
That would make sense though, because look at what he does for a living, as opposed to 18.
That's true. Well, she is totally committed to her family, whereas he's like, fuck family, animals.
She's gone very domestic, and while he does have a family, and that is part of his life, he's in a very dangerous line of work that allows him to keep his fighting skills sharp.
He's also completely isolated from everybody, so he doesn't have to worry about, like, oh, that guy's got superpowers.
He battles the most technologically advanced poachers I have ever seen in my entire life.
Submarine-based poachers.
On a daily basis.
What did you think of the monster he was protecting? I thought it was kind of lame.
Yeah.
I was like, make something better than a dinosaur minotaur, please.
It's I don't really have much of an opinion on him. Like you said, it's kind of just there, isn't it? Not very impressive, I don't think, but it's not.
Well, you got to overanalyze everything. That's what we do here. We'd be out of a job otherwise.
Right, but you're asking me for an opinion on something that I don't really have an opinion on.
That's what we do. No. We force things that we don't actually believe. That's how God did it. That's how America did it. It's worked out pretty well so far.
Fine, and in my opinion, the Minotaurus is dumb.
Great. I'm glad we're in agreement. So I don't mean to rush, but we are over an hour already. And we are still in the midst of the recruiting. So the only other thing I wanted to say about the 17 thing was that I liked the idea of the villains in space poaching like a human. It was sort of Predator, but it was like it was like Predator mixed with I can't think of an example, but it was like Predator if the Predator was a fucking joke. And that was kind of fun.
Right.
And of course there's the amazing bit where Goku's like, oh, self-destructing villain, I know what to do with this! And he takes him to King Kai's planet!
Yeah.
Oh god, that's fucking brilliant. Oh.
That was a great nod.
And King Kai's like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you for real? Like, all the shit that I do for you, and this is how you treat me.
Right, we already had that amazing filler episode, a few arcs back, where Goku promised King Kai to use the Dragon Balls to finally bring him back to life, and then he didn't get to.
Yep. Oh, there was a whole episode where that was his whole goal, and then he got distracted by Bulma looking for crystals, and then he never got the chance. Oh,
There's been a running theme so far in Super of Goku fucking King Kai over inadvertently.
yeah, he likes King Kyle. I like King Kai a lot. You know, I mean, there's no reason for him to be fucked over, but he's got a big
yeah.
dumb blue face, so that's what happens.
King Kai's a great character. He's one of the earliest characters I remember because I saw Z first before regular Dragon
He's
Ball.
a character who I have like a personal nostalgia for because he was like kind of new when I got into Dragon Ball. You know,
right.
he was still kind of like, oh, King Kai. He's one of Goku's hip young new trainers and shit. He was the one who brought Goku from low level Earth fighter to space warrior. You know.
That's why no matter how long after this happens, I still think of Trunks as like that new kid on the block with the sword chopping Frieza up, you know what I mean? And that's been so many years ago now.
He still feels that way though, especially with how he was portrayed in the last arc. But alright, so what else do you have to say about 17, if anything? Because otherwise we'll move on to who's after that.
Pretty much cover 17.
Fuck.
There's not much to say about the TN thing except that it sucks. It's a bad 2 episodes.
It's okay. So I like the idea of the girl who doesn't like him because he wouldn't fight with her, although it's stupid. But I like it better because it's a thing that's based in the past of them being young martial artists. It kind of reminds me of Goku's first meeting with Chi-Chi when they were older, except not nearly as good.
It is interesting to get a view of TN, something that happened in TN's life before he met Goku back in Dragon Ball.
Because he always gets the shaft, so it is nice that, like, we get a little bit of to do for him. He did something to somebody. He didn't. Like, she's fucking insane.
I would have been fine with it if she had been, like, vanquished at the end of the episode, but she gets away. She pulls a Team Rocket. She's like, I'll get you next time, TN. And I'm like, is this like a backdoor pilot for a Dragon Ball spinoff that nobody wants to see?
You know, but she becomes a student of his.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I misremembered that entirely. I thought she just sort of got away.
No, she becomes a student of his.
Oh. Well,
although, because his whole thing is, if you want to fight me, just be my student. You'll fight me, like, every day. And she's like, I feel like an idiot now.
But I still did get the impression, like I was just saying, that it felt like some sort of weird backdoor pilot for a spinoff that I don't want. Because it's all about TN running this, like, martial art
The
school.
TN show.
TN Ball Z. Just like
TN and Xiaotzu do boring shit.
Running a fucking martial arts school, and there's all these characters there that I'll never see again.
Xiaotzu, did you clicking through toilets? Of course I did, TN!
Or I should say characters that I hope I never see again. No, because I don't care. But, yeah, so that... It's super weird. I don't like it. It's probably my least favorite of these recruitment episodes. Like, even Master Roshi's little mini arc of learning to get over his perversity was way more interesting.
That was awesome. I mean, it was like 2 seconds. It was awesome.
I loved the running joke of Yamcha sitting around waiting to be recruited.
Yes, that seemed like I was waiting for the abridged bit where we see him like hanging in a window.
Right. It's what reminded me of that as well. He's like, oh, of course they'll recruit me. And it's so sad because he was just so useful in that baseball game back during the film.
That may be an overstatement, but I see your point.
He won the fucking game, man.
That's true. Yeah, he did get blasted, but still. So after Tien then, it's just the big one then, right? The big kahuna?
Oh, should we talk about the episode where we go and see Boo with his weird new skinny form that he can apparently do, where he looks like Super Boo in a diaper?
Oh, I figured we would just get into that when we got into Frieza, but yeah, we should definitely get into that now then. So, I really liked that, and that's why it totally sucked that they just had him pass out.
Yeah.
Why does Toriyama keep doing that, do you think? Do you think he just decided at the last minute, nah, I want Frieza? It must have been that simple. He cannot have thought this from the beginning. They literally changed the promo art.
Well, the thing that pissed me off about it, yeah, they changed the intro as well to have Frieza in it instead of Boo. But the thing that pissed me off about it was, yeah, this whole arc has been promoted as like, oh, Boo's going to be a member of the team finally. We've kind of wanted that since the end of Z, to just see him, finally be a part of the squad. And so far, all he's ever done is piss off Beerus and almost get the world destroyed. And we finally got to see him get a little action in the Zen exhibition match, and it was like, yeah, it's fucking great. More of this, please. And then they're like, you're getting Frieza again, because Boo's going to sleep again. And this time, Hercule conveniently can't wake him up. And it was so disappointing because it would have been so easy for them to just not trick us like that. Like, if you were going to do Frieza, fine, because what they've been doing with it has been super interesting, and I can't fault them too much for what Frieza's been doing in this arc so far. All you would have had to do is just tell us from the beginning that Frieza was going to be in it, or just don't tell us who the members of the team were going to be and let us figure it out along the way. And you could still have Boo, get his moment in the sun during the exhibition match, but then you could have, like, just straight up, and then not do the episode where Goku spars with Boo right before the tournament, which just affirmed to me that he was part of the team. Just don't do all that shit.
And
Just
Boo was, like, clever and shit, and there was the idea that Satan was going to give him... That sounds so fucking weird given the way I said it. But Mr. Satan was going to give him, like, techniques that would be useful in knocking somebody out of the ring. Because that's what we realized. Is like, Mr. Satan may not be, like, a great fighter, but... in reality, he's like he knows the game. He knows the ins and outs of knocking somebody out. He's also crafty because he's not the great fighter he presents himself as.
He's a good fighter by regular human standards, though.
I don't think so. I think he probably is now, but I think he was just okay. I think he was more.
He must have. Well, we know for a fact that he won a Strongest Under the Heavens tournament. He's the world champion. He became champion after Goku had, done all the shit with Piccolo. And presumably, I guess it was the next tournament after that, Goku wasn't at it because he was busy, fucking off in space or whatever. And then Hercule took the title. So clearly he was good enough to win a match and convince, or win a whole tournament and convince the whole world that he's this super powerful guy. So he's that level of good. He would be like a good martial artist in, like, the real world, in our world. If he were a real person, I imagine he'd go pretty far. He just doesn't compete well against,
he's their version of Chuck Norris, so yeah.
He just doesn't compete well against people who have actual fucking superpowers. So his role on the team, or his role with Boo, really comes down to more of, like, technical stuff, because, like, he may not have the superpowers of a Goku or a Vegeta, but clearly he understands fighting technique enough to win a fucking tournament. So you combine that with sort of the raw power that Boo already has infused naturally, and you have the potential to make, like, a really useful partnership. It's
but we'll never know now.
Even GT had the common sense to be like, hey, maybe Boo should actually, like, do some shit while he's... And sure, they were...
he did one thing. He died and then went into Oob. That was the one thing that Boo did in GT.
But that one thing was way more impactful than anything that...
I agree with you. That was a standout moment in GT for sure. But even still, Boo always got the shaft because he was sort of like fucking... what's the word? He was sort of like just debris from fucking the Boo saga, because it's like, oh, we got rid of the villainous Boo. Now we're stuck with this good version who's just going to be another villain who's going to go good. Like, we have to do that every arc where we have a villain who goes good.
Right.
Have we done that? Have we kept that up in Super? Beerus.
We have Beerus, and we have the friendship that's developed between Goku and Hit. Which is very reminiscent.
If that even qualifies.
Well, that's very reminiscent of what happened with Piccolo and Vegeta.
That's true. Especially with that filler stuff.
Yeah. Hit kind of is the new Piccolo in a way. Now that Piccolo's character is completely different than it was when he started out. Hit's the new, mysterious guy with the weird powers who is bald and hangs around and has a rivalry with Goku.
Now Piccolo's like, oh my god, Pan, don't knock over that jar!
Careful, Pan. That's a pool.
I love Piccolo so much.
Radio. That's the Dragon Ball spinoff I want to see. Nanny Piccolo.
Yeah. Oh God, that's brilliant. Oh, don't get me started.
Just to continue to, and every week, Pan would get into some wacky hijinks, and Piccolo would have to save her
That would be amazing. It'd be like a Tom and Jerry fucking cartoon.
from like a dinosaur or something. And every now and then, Pan would do like she's done a few times in Super, and like show some of her burgeoning powers off, fly or something like into fucking space, like she did with Pilaf. But what were we talking about?
Well,
yeah. I was a little pissed off with the bait and switch as far as Boo was concerned. Again, the shit that they've been doing with Frieza has been interesting, even though I don't necessarily think that we need Frieza again so soon. I can't fault them for the execution so far. It's all been fascinating.
yeah, it's pretty amazing, right? Like once we got to Frieza, I was like, okay, fuck Boo.
But the reason it pisses me off is because they did the whole bait and switch thing.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. But again, finally getting to that moment where Goku just fucking looks up at Frieza hanging in the tree and goes, "Yo!" Oh, like what a moment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of been like the thing fans never thought we would see, but have always kind of wanted to, like Goku and Frieza teaming up. It's interesting.
Well, and they also have hinted that Frieza, if Goku fights Frieza again, we're not sure if he could win again, because they set up back in Resurrection F, both the movie and the arc, that the Golden Frieza form was actually like physically stronger than the Super Saiyan Blue. Like he was beating up on Goku, but the reason he lost was because the form ate through his power too quickly. It was kind of like the Super Saiyan 3 for Frieza. So now Frieza has this, what he calls the true Golden Frieza form, which is essentially just the same form, but he's mastered the energy consumption problem, so that now he won't, run out in the middle of a fight. So now, it's questionable whether Goku could beat him. Now, obviously, he's had some due to the whole Goku, all the Goku Black stuff that went down in the Universe 6. So he's obviously gotten stronger too. But it's put into question for the first time since Namek, I think, of could Frieza be a real problem now?
Right, now that Goku's promised to bring him back from the dead.
And also we have, hints that him and Frost are going to team up for some hijinks.
I assume that will be what'll get... If they do end up getting erased by Zeno, that will probably be the thing.
And
I just realized how they're going to bring Frieza back, too. So that's what they'll do.
And I know that I keep going ahead to episodes that we're not supposed to be reviewing, but there's even a moment in episode 99, and I only bring this up because it's super relevant to his character right now. There's even a moment in episode 99 where Frieza looks up at Zeno, and is kind of disgusted by the fact that it's like this child.
Oh, he's like, "I will reign over you one day," and I'm like, "Good fucking luck, buddy."
And I'm like, the ego on this guy.
Frieza, what they've done a really good job of doing is showing like the depths of Frieza's psychopathy that we didn't get the chance to see before because there was always so much plot going on. Now we kind of just have a moment to analyze Frieza as a presence in a social situation, and it's like he's just constantly obsessed with evil and doing wrong. It's sickening to see somebody act like that.
The difference between Frieza and a King Piccolo or a Vegeta is that, when faced with the fact that they could not achieve their evil goals, Piccolo and Vegeta, for the sake of nothing more than self-preservation, started to play along with the good guys and started to realize that they had to change their way of going about things. And then gradually, through the course of doing that, they actually became better people. Frieza, upon realizing that he can't obtain his villainous objective, digs in his heels and keeps pressing forward anyway, convinced that he will overcome.
He's Goku's true opposite in that way.
Exactly. There is no... I say this, and if they do this in the future, it's going to piss me off. There's no changing Frieza, I hope, Toriyama, please. There's no making him the next Vegeta Piccolo.
They can't. He's too defined by his sadism, Like, there's no way that they can have him suddenly go, well, I'm going to start saving kids now. It's like, how about the millions that you murdered?
If they were going to do that angle, the time to do it would have been either when he was brought back as a cyborg back in the day, because I always wish that had been more of a thing than it wound up being, or in Resurrection F. But now the character's been developed too far in the opposite direction. I don't think you could...
To be like this genetic to the core sadist.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think what they need to do is give him more backstory. If they do that, maybe they can get away with it. I want to see some flashbacks to him as a kid, being raised by his dad. I imagine that's what we're going to get now that he's back, and he's working with the good guys.
I'm really interested to know how Frost is going to react to Frieza the more they interact, because so far they just sort of bumped into each other. I think they instantly realized that they were, the sort of opposite counterparts of each other.
Frieza literally says, "Do you like reigning over others by means of power?" Frost goes, "Yes," and I'm like, well, hang on, that's not exactly how you operate, though, is it?
In an indirect way, that's what he was doing.
What
I was saying was, what I think would be interesting, one potential way that they could go, is have Frieza and Frost work together for a little bit, but then reach a point where Frieza shows just the true depths of his fucked upness, and have even Frost be like, "Whoa, dude!" Like,
I think that's where they'll have to go, because they're very different characters. I mean, Frost got to the point in the last arc where he was like, "I'm sorry, guys, I fucked up." Begrudgingly, of course, and not compassionately, just to save his own skin for self-preservation, like you said earlier. But
look where Frost was when Hit recruited him for the tournament, that's something we need to go back and talk about in a minute. Is some of the shit that we saw, like glimpses of the other universes during the build-up, has been really great. But he was on the run. Frieza would never go on the run.
He wouldn't have to.
He would keep fighting until either he had won or he was dead.
Right.
There would be no on the run. Also,
the sly need for the needles, like we see that when Hit recruits him.
Yeah.
So I don't think Frieza... I think the more Frieza finds out about Frost, the more he'll seem like a burden. And less like a cool thing to have, I think that Frieza's going to end up like brutally murdering him. Maybe that will be the thing that gets him erased. In Frieza's disgust at how shit he is in the other universe, he'll kill him, which is against the rules, and then Zeno will erase him.
That is possible.
I don't know, though. We'll see. I think that something will happen between Frieza and Frost, though, and the realization that they were in cahoots at all will be the thing that'll get them erased, if anything does happen. But I think that that's likely, given the theory you convinced me of with the Grand Priest. But we shall have to see how it goes. I also love, Goku and Frieza's dynamic is... oh, it's delicious. But Vegeta's reaction to all of it is great as well. When they all have to get transported to the arena and they all have to hold hands, or at least Whis tells them they all have to hold hands. And of course the only spot that's left is next to Frieza. Vegeta's like, what are we doing? How have I been brought to this place where I have to hold hands with Frieza? And Beerus is just like, and Frieza goes, I didn't know you were so afraid of me, Vegeta. Come on, I'm not that bad. And Vegeta gets so mad. He's like, hey, you think it's fear? And Beerus is like, all right, everybody shut the fuck up. I'll hold Frieza's hand. Let's just fucking go. It's such a great dad moment. I love it.
Don't make me turn this interdimensional portal around.
And then it's great when they get there, and fucking Whis is like, and it's like, oh, it's how come they all didn't have to hold hands? Because all the other universes arrived not holding hands. And fucking Whis goes, I thought it would help build team morale. I love him so much.
My favorite moment of Vegeta having to deal with this bizarre situation is when he has to lie to Trunks. because they don't want Trunks and Goten to find out about the tournament. And Trunks comes and sees this whiteboard with all these warriors on it, and he's like, well, what is this? And Bulma tells him it's a list of people coming to celebrate Bola's birth. And he's like, well, why is Frieza up there? Isn't he a bad guy? And Vegeta's like, well, you're Frieza. You turned over a new leaf.
Oh, it's brilliant. Oh.
Vegeta having to defend Frieza.
Yeah, and you can tell that Goten and Trunks are figuring it out too, because when Krillin and 18 drop off, oh, this was a weird moment too. When they drop off, so 17 agrees to go to the tournament if Goten and Trunks will watch over the island for him, which I don't agree that he would go under those terms. But
whatever, they come up with some excuse for.
But then Marin is also left behind, and I'm like, wait a second, what? How is 18 cool with that? Have we gotten any sense that she has any kind of skill?
No.
I'll believe it if she does, but we have not gotten any sense of that whatsoever.
However, she certainly does have her mama's sass. We have seen that.
That's certainly true. There's that moment when she's talking to Goku. What does she say? When they're watching Gohan and Krillin fight. I forget. Whatever. There was some sassy thing she said. She's like, "Don't be a dickhead, Uncle Goku," and he's like, "What?" Anyway.
Well, she's always joining in with her mom, and she'll be talking to Krillin.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't fuck up, Dad.
Don't be a total loser like every other time. Oh no.
If we ever get to that point in the series, she's going to be a fun teenager.
The awkwardness between Krillin and 17 is also brilliant.
Yeah.
Because Krillin has this thing with villains where he's never sure if they're just going to suddenly decide to murder him or not. Because he's got a track record of that. So he's always insecure about himself. Like now he's on a team with Android 17, Vegeta, and Frieza, and Piccolo. All of these people have been involved in attempting to murder him, like many times. So he's not in a good place.
Well, it's even worse than usual with 17 because it's like, hi, former super villain who killed millions of people in an alternate timeline, whose sister I am currently fucking. How are you?
Yeah, that's the thing too. Yeah, it's good shit. I like this show. I think we've made that clear, right?
Yeah.
So, Dylan, on that note, what other things do you want to say then?
Well, as I alluded to before, we've gotten some glimpses of some of the other universes over the course of the build-up to this tournament. That has been fascinating. The scene where Hit recruits Frost is really great. It's a nice bit of world building for what's been going on in that universe since the tournament. Frost is on the run. He's been exposed for the scamp that he is.
The scamp. What a fucking way to put it.
So he's been on the run and shit, and it's a great place to find him. He's like fucking hiding in the alleyways, like under a cloak, and he's all beat up and shit. Like, it's cool stuff.
I love all the assassins from Universe 9 coming to kill Frieza and Goku, and Frieza just torturing them. Oh, because that was the moment where Goku really went, I think I made a mistake here.
Right.
Because he's like, I can't control this guy. Which he should have realized anyway. I mean, realistically, that was a shit situation to be put into. But I thought that was really effective at showing, Frieza is still Frieza.
But at the same time, with Boo, taken out of the action like he was, there probably isn't a better choice than Frieza.
No, I think that was... I think they did a good job of making Goku's decision make sense. Because he was desperate.
Because one of the things you said was, like, when it first happened, it's like, oh, wouldn't it have been more interesting to bring back another past villain like Cell or something? And I'm like,
we talked about it, though, but power level-wise, there's nobody who makes more sense than Frieza.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm guilty of this too. I have a bad habit of it's just because of years of this being the status quo. I still tend to think of Frieza as he was when we last saw him in Z.
Yeah.
This villain that was stronger than anybody that came before him, but also weaker than everybody that came after him. And and Resurrection F and he had become a running joke for years.
As like, oh, we could have taken this guy's as strong as Frieza.
Yeah. The fucking, like in Yo, Son Goku and his friends return, oh, these two villains combined have the power level of Frieza. Oh, let the kids fight them.
Yeah, isn't that cute and charming? Perfect play for the kids.
It'll let them, it'll be good practice, So.
Oh. Bunch of psychos fucking parenting in this fucking universe.
So yeah, he was a running joke for years, and he was this villain, and now he's come back, and he's stronger than fucking Kid Buu was. He's the new big bad guy on the block, really, since Goku Black has been completely erased from existence. There's no bigger, badder guy than Frieza right now, except maybe the Daishinkan, if that turns out to be true. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. But it's
a dicey move. I mean, the other thing is, though, realistically, Beerus and we should have been like, all right, who are the strongest people in our universe? Let's go get them. Although, I think there's a line early on where Goku or somebody, I think it's actually Bulma, says something to that effect. And Whis and Beerus are like, yeah, we don't really know anybody. Like, you guys are kind of it. Like, we don't really... Everybody else we've murdered. We don't fuck around and hang out with people like we have with you guys, Like, this is kind of a one-shot deal. So, I thought that was interesting. All in all, what I think I like a lot about what we've gotten so far from this arc is that Toriyama is doing a good job of balancing the punchy, stakey, bad guys versus good guys, lasers and explosion stuff, and the funny, quirky character stuff mixed in with the serious drama, is that we're dealing with a situation that is a mix of the fun and the life-threatening that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are sort of the ultimate yin and yang of, I think that's why this has really proven itself to be kind of the creme de la creme of this particular series, is because it's managed to find that perfect middle ground. Again, it's not perfect. It's got a lot of flaws, but I think that particular middle ground of we're in a tournament setting, we're kind of just doing this to have fun, but if we fuck up, the whole universe will be erased. Like, that's the ultimate mix of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. What else do you have to say, D?
Well, in addition to that little moment from Universe 9, we've gotten tiny glimpses of other, or Universe 6, I mean. We've gotten tiny glimpses of other universe, but the one that has been, there are two big ones that are being set up in a big way. And that is the Saiyans from Universe 6. That's a big thing that we should probably talk about.
Oh, fuck! We forgot about that!
And what we've seen of Universe 11, which is probably less to discuss, so I'll cover that one just briefly, real quick. Another spin-off that I wouldn't mind saying, the Pride Troopers are fucking incredible. And I've only seen a little bit of them. They're a fucking Dragon Ball-based superhero team. This entire universe, Gohan should just move there, because the Great Saiyan Man would be a big hit there. Like, all of that corny shit that everybody made fun of him for back in the Buu Saga, that is what this universe is about.
I definitely want to see them do stuff, though. I just don't feel like we've gotten a sense of that, although they're clearly saving up Jiren to be the ultimate kind of big rival for Goku this time.
Yeah, we haven't seen him do much apart from meditate, and there was that one really cool moment where he, like, dodged an attack without even moving or something.
Well, he didn't dodge it. He knew where it was going to go and knew it wouldn't hit him.
That's right. But there was also an episode where we saw them save a planet from some sort of a threat. You remember? Some sort of a giant monster or something.
Yeah.
It was Toppo and that, like, sergeant guy. And
the bunny, the bunny Beerus thing?
Yeah. Which, I thought was another member of Beerus's race for a long time, but it's clearly a rabbit instead of a cat because it doesn't have
Right.
a tail.
And it's got the buck teeth.
Right, and I'm like, well, all they had to do is make it a different color. Like that exact character model, but like pink instead of purple, and I wouldn't have thought he was, a Beerus race. But anyway.
Well, it's that the eyes are the same that throw me off.
They're all cool and super interesting, and I'm excited to see more from them in this tournament because, as Bill has said, the fight between Goku and Jiren seems to be what we're building up to. That's what the opening animation of the series is all based around. So that's all cool stuff. Can't wait to see more. The thing with the Saiyans from Universe 6, it was announced quite a while ago that we were going to be getting a version of Broly in the Super Universe. But the amazing thing about this version of Broly is that much like the upcoming Doctor Who, it ain't got no penis. We have Girl Broly. In Dragon Ball.
They've done Broly sans penis, an improvement.
Yeah. So Kale, for a while we thought it was going to be Caulifla, but no, it's Kale, her shy sidekick. What do you think about Girl Broly?
So I really like Cauliflower, number one, because she is the stereotypical. No, because she's not as hard edge as the Saiyans from Universe 7, but she's like the closest thing to that in Universe 6. Because she's still kind of like, oh well, I'm kind of a rebel, but I'm not a total sociopath. I'm not a planet destroyer yet, but I really liked her. I liked how scared of her Kaba is. Every time she speaks, he gets scared. I don't like how easily they all seem to learn the Super Saiyan transformation. Like I just don't understand why that's so easy now.
Right. That's been ruined in Dragon Ball ever since Goten and Trunks, though. I can't really fault them for it now. That's a holdover problem.
But I like what they do with it here. I like the idea of Saiyans learning. I like the idea of Goku and Vegeta teaching other people the Super Saiyan transformation who will not be able to control it. Because that's what we get with Kale.
Although, if you wanted to theorize about it, it could be that maybe because the Saiyans from Universe 6 are slightly different from the ones from 7, maybe they're just able to learn it easier than the ones from 7
That's
were.
possible. They break it down in this like super specific physical sense so that they no longer have to go like, oh, you have to get angry, and it doesn't have to be this like emotional thing anymore. That's what I don't like about it. They've turned it into such like this clinical thing.
Right. Well, because I almost get the feeling that the thing that held the Saiyans in Universe 7 back for so long from achieving Super Saiyan is that they were dicks. And that the way that the Super Saiyan transformation was originally portrayed, like back during the Frieza saga, it's supposed to be like this thing that like a noble-hearted person does, and then Vegeta got to do it anyway. But I think we've almost taken it back to that in a way, since the Saiyans from Universe 6 are more, kindly. Maybe they're just able to do it easier. I don't know. That's just a bit of theory.
Potentially. It's more about the physique of it, where it's just like, oh, just force your energy into your spine and you'll be a Super Saiyan. It's like, okay. Are those the pressure points that make the hair go up? Is that it?
But it was a bit different for Kale. Her...
Well, yeah. I mean, she's kind of she's what I like. Like, she's the kind of carefree, nature of Goku and Vegeta, teaching their powers to everybody, gone rampant, where it's like, oh, here's this psycho now that has these powers that Vegeta indirectly gave her.
Right.
But yeah, it's great. I mean, we haven't gotten a whole lot of it yet, but I like Hulk saying it's cool.
It is. The scene where she fucking goes crazy and starts beating up on Kaba is great.
She's much more of a Bruce Banner type than traditional Broly.
Right. Well, she seems to have like a connection to Caulifla, and she wants to like protect Caulifla, and I think that's what's going to cause her to Hulk out in episode 100 this weekend. So we'll see. Wow, I just realized that's kind of weird. We're 100 episodes in for Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, it's wild, ain't it? It's been going on for 2 years, so it makes sense.
Holy shit. But
Wow.
yeah, Girl Broly, that's a big thing. Also, Caulifla's a Super Saiyan 2, so no slouch in that department.
And she's going to turn into a Super Saiyan. Like, do you mean she is also a Super Saiyan, or she's going to turn Super Saiyan 2? Because that's happening next episode.
No, I mean Caulifla is a Super Saiyan 2. We've already seen that because remember she right before Kale hulked out that one time, she discovered Super Saiyan, and then I forget what the dialogue was exactly, but she managed to push even further beyond it, and we saw like the lightning around her and everything.
Oh, I must have missed that then, or just forgotten. Because all I remember is that in the preview for next episode, we see her Super Saiyan 2 form again. So
Yeah, so Caulifla is a Super Saiyan 2. Kale is a legendary Super Saiyan, so neither of them are exactly slouches. This is going to be very interesting. And we have Kaba, who has experience with this sort of thing before, having been in the Universe 6 tournament. So the three of them together are going to make a bit of a formidable match, I think.
I think so, and I think it'll be fun to see Goku and Vegeta go up against them.
Universe 6 is going to be the hardest universe that we're going to have to see get erased. Because it's coming. There's no way that Universe 7 isn't going to come out of this tournament on top, although that would be really interesting. I don't think Toriyama has it in him.
We suddenly start focusing on a different universe.
It's going to be hard because even over just 100 episodes, they've gotten me almost as attached to Universe 6's roster as I am to 7. I mean, you've got Champa's great, and then you've got the entire team from the Universe 6 tournament are all really memorable and likable characters, and Hit especially. And now you've got all these like badass new Saiyans and Girl Broly and all that. They're going to be the saddest one to see get erased. I didn't really care about Universe 9. I was kind of happy to see them go.
Well, yeah, because they're dicks.
But Universe 6 is going to be, oh boy. I mean, Champa was like the first like new original character for Super that really was like, oh, this show's great. Look at Fat Beerus, he's amazing.
True. It's going to be interesting just to see how far we go with actually erasing these universes. Things seem to be pretty real now that 9 is gone. But it's all a matter of what happens at the end of this tournament, man. I think what I'll also say, just in kind of conclusion here, I just hope that there's consequences for this at the end of it. I hope that we don't just use the Dragon Balls to wish everything back to the way things were. I'm hoping that there's some lasting consequences from this tournament. There has been from the past arcs. Fucking Trunks' timeline was wiped. There's 2 Zenos now. Like, I'm hoping that we get a really nice doozy with this arc.
One thing I thought of is, what if Goku, uses the Super Dragon Balls to reverse their universes getting erased, and as a result kind of pisses off Zeno because he just sort of went against what Zeno wanted to do.
Yeah, I would be fine with that. That would definitely be interesting.
And so the friendship that they've developed, goes away.
Because I guess having him as an enemy would be like the next level. Like, so we have this tournament where he's like he's sort of a troubled acquaintance, but next time it's like, oh, now he's Goku's fucking next enemy.
Yeah.
That might be interesting. I doubt they'll go that direction, though. We'll see. I think
not even necessarily enemy, because the way they've written it so far, it would be impossible for Goku.
Well, sure, but yeah, I don't think he would just straight up erase him. I think he would play with him a little bit.
Yeah. Not so much enemy, but I would like to see just like a breakdown in that friendship, and no more Zeno button, no more calling Zeno for help. Take away the big Deus Ex Machina that we got at the end of the Universe 6 tournament. Do the exact opposite of what happened as a result of the Universe 6 tournament.
I don't know, man. But I'm excited to see where things go, and I don't know where things are going to go. And I think that's the most exciting thing. I don't know where we're going to end up at the end of all this, and I can't quite put it together in my own head. So what more could you ask for? Dylan, what else do you want to add?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. This is a big batch of episodes, and ultimately this is why I decided to split this arc up into 2, because it's running on really long.
Yeah, can you imagine if we tried to do this all in one? Fuck, we'd be dead.
And we like to try and not leave things dangling, but it's very difficult, Every time we do want to walk away thinking, oh, fuck, I forgot to talk about Goku Black's thingamabopper, you know what I mean? But in this instance, I think we've covered it all.
And we're gonna come back to this arc anyway, so we can always say it again when we get into the rest of it.
I mean, you watched this obviously a bit more recently than I did, so is there anything that you think we've forgotten?
No, I think we've hit all the major notes of the stuff building up to the actual tournament. I think otherwise, if we keep going, we're going to start talking about all the fights. So,
right.
That's where we kind of leave off.
Which we've already kind of done. This wound up being a review up to 95 with a few spoilers for 96, 97, and 98.
Yeah. But that's fine, whatever. We didn't get into everything, so we still have so much that we have to cover. You know, we have Goku and Vegeta's little tag team, you know, all that. So there's still a lot that we haven't said. So we will get into all of that when we next cover Dragon Ball Super. So all in all, man, things are good right now, and I'm satisfied with where Dragon Ball is Super at in a way that I wasn't with the last arc. You know, I was a little disappointed with the end of Goku Black, so I'm glad things are where they're at now. But yeah, I think that's actually going to do it for this week's episode. So next time, I actually don't know what we're going to do in particular. We'll probably actually do a science episode, only because it's been a while, and I think I've already got some queued up. But if we come up with something better, we'll do that. But otherwise, I think we're gonna do a science episode next time. All right? Does that sound good to you, D?
Sounds fine to me.
Well, we'll see how it goes. All right. So until next time, everyone. I'm Bill Worster, aka Zazubaar.
I'm Super DM64.
Reminding you that it's a podcast, Colonel Hogan. So you can't fucking see us.